Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet,
sponsored by Apple Capital Group.
At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Today I have the pleasure of having Mike Hughes. He's an author of What the Limo Driver Knows About NASCAR. But our topic today is what happened with George Lopez in Arizona Boycott. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and chat in, and I'll go ahead and read your question on the air. Or you can call in at 347-324-3460. Well, Michael, welcome to the program.
Hey, great. Thanks for your time. It's glad to be on.
Great. I guess to begin with, kind of tell us about yourself. Where are you from? And how
basically, Oklahoma City. I live in Southern California now. I've lived everywhere from Washington to Florida. And my background is basically racing. I was a motorcycle racer for a long time and got involved with NASCAR and was with NASCAR for several years, including worked on a Days of Thunder movie. And I'm just became politically active, and I've been involved with stunts. And, of course, if you go to my website, madmikehughes.com, you will find out that I'm the gentleman that's getting ready to recreate the Evel Knievel rocket jump.
Wow.
And, we built the rocket. We tested it again 2 days ago. Everything works. The FAA is reviewing everything, and I may jump a mountain September 15th.
How does that feel to kind of fall in the footsteps of Evel Knievel? He was, God, some of these stunts. I remember in the 70s when I was a little kid, and he was at the Astrodome, and he was known for going over cars, going over this, over buses, and so forth. How does that feel being on a motorcycle? And I guess you practice so many times, step by step. How does it feel when you actually make it? You see all of the obstacles you put there, and you want to make sure you get there. When you get there, I know it's thrilling, but what's that like of taking those type of chances?
Well, the thing is, you're supposed to live your life, and so many people just kind of drag their feet all day long and don't really, they live their life through football teams and Kobe Bryant and American Idol and all this kind of stuff, which really don't mean anything, honestly. Do you really care what Tom Brady does? I don't, or Ben Roethlisberger or whatever. It takes someone that can go outside the box and do something really different. That takes courage. That takes intelligence. That takes a lot of things. By building this rocket, I lost track of my internet research at 1,500 hours, and that was 2 hours, and that was 2 years ago. There's probably 5 people in the world that might could do this, including people at NASA right now. And I guess I'm one of them. And we're close to doing this. In fact, Knievel, if it was up to him, he could have never done the Snake River Canyon jump. He couldn't build the ramp. He couldn't build the rocket. He didn't know about parachute. He basically just wrote checks. That's all they did to make the thing happen.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So when you kind of tell us what the experience is like and building the rocket, and kind of take us from step, what happens in that process and at the very end what you're trying to be at.
Well, basically 5 years ago, I woke up one morning. Of course, I have a Guinness World Record for jumping a limousine, and it landed me on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Country 5 videos, or whatever. But no one wants to pay for that. None of these racetrack promoters or whatever, or they just don't want to pay for what it's worth. So basically, I thought, what can I do that the whole world will take notice of? It will make me an instant celebrity, probably an instant millionaire. And this is what I came up with, recreating the rocket jump. Every stuntman in the world has wanted to do that. It's the ultimate extreme stunt. And that's why no one's done it, because it's just not easy. Pastrana can't do it. That Robbie Madison guy can't do it. Robbie Knievel's been trying for 20 years. He still don't have a rocket. None of these guys can do it. None of these ex-gamers, none of these clowns. And I've got a rocket. I've got the FAA, basically the clearance, and I got a propulsion system. And I've actually got 3 places to jump. And it has been brutal, to say the least. Brutal.
Wow. Being a NASCAR, let's go backwards real quick. Being a NASCAR rider, and everybody don't have the experience of dealing with NASCAR. How did you come about in trying to race in NASCAR? Was it
Well, basically it was. My dad was a racer, and for like 1960 through 1963, he traveled the car racing circuit. And we hit every county fair from Shreveport, Louisiana to St. Paul, Minnesota. I mean, I remember just bouncing around in a truck, not knowing where I was, what state I was in, hell, I was a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid. And, that's my early, how I got started in car racing. I always wanted to be involved in NASCAR, and it's a shame that the sport has taken the turn that it has. It's just the cars aren't built anymore, and the chase, and basically NASCAR has ruined its own deal. And now it's on a downhill slide as far as TV ratings go also. So, but in the heyday, that was something. Yeah, I've hung out with Michael Waltrip and Rob Moroso, had cars in the front row of Daytona. If you remember the Days of Thunder movie, the big crash scene where the car does the big stuff, I built that car in January 1990. I built that.
Wow.
That was an Oldsmobile that we turned into Chevy Lumina, and just for the movie. And it wound up being on the front page of National Enquirer.
Wow. So when you talk about NASCAR, I know they had some of the highest ratings almost in the last 20 years. I mean, things have been a little quiet lately. But what do you think the decline is? Or is it a decline?
I think it's just a lot of things. I think people, like me, I watch maybe 2 races a year. I'm really tired of these little punk kids with these goofy looking haircuts driving these cars. They're not marketable, the little puds, and I'm tired of them. It's like the Bush brothers. It's like Casey Kane. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And Keselowski. I mean, I don't even want to look at these guys, much less watch them go around a racetrack and know they're millionaires, because it's just a lot of things. Plus, basically, the cars are too safe now. They've made everything too safe. They're trying to sanitize it like golf, and racing's not golf. People get killed. That's why, and why people were shocked last October when Dan Roman got killed in Las Vegas. I'm going, dude, people are supposed to get killed. You race cars.
Wow.
So I don't know. It's a lot of things. There's a motorcycle race over in England, the Isle of Man TT. It's killed 237 people over the years. Okay, that's a real man sport over there. And they're not going to shut it down. It's just part of the deal. And NASCAR just made itself too safe. It's all these head restraints and all this kind of crap, and $10,000 seats in these cars. And I'm just tired of it. I really am.
Wow. So they're not like the cars of the Oldsmobiles and of the day, the old steel cars. They're more fiberglass.
No, they're basically all fabricated. Basically, the roof is, I think, off a Taurus now. Even all the cars are got a Taurus roof. The deck lids are off whatever car they say it is. But everything is, the rear panels are fabricated from carbon fiber. In fact, if you lay them all on the ground, I can't tell a Dodge from a Chevy to a Ford. They all look the same in the rear bumpers. And the cars are wider. See, that's another thing. The cars are way too wide. And the tires are too wide. And used to, when NASCAR first got started, they raced on like 6 or 7 inch tires. And there's no reason today they should be racing on anything more than an 8 inch wide tire and wheel. And it put the driving back into the driver instead of back to tire technology and everything else.
Well, do you think with the NASCAR itself is based on just general speed? That's the reason why they build on the cars, besides safety, but they build on the cars because of more speed. Are you getting more speed out of it, or it's just out of some cosmetic look?
It's just basically they want it easier to control. In other words, a standard template goes over the whole car and around the windshield and it's easier to control. No, they don't really want the cars going over 192 miles an hour, because basically in the old days, that's when a car got aerodynamically unstable. That's when they start to fly. If they ever got sideways or air got up underneath the car. So that's a kind of breaking point on the thing. And then they came with the restrictor plate motors, I guess maybe a decade or 15 years ago. And that basically almost broke a lot of races. There was so much money going into the technology of the restrictor plate motors. It was spending more money on the 4 races at Talladega and Daytona than it was the rest of the season on motors. It's just crazy. So it's a combination of things. And plus, people's interest is just really wacky now. I mean, everything is computer-generated images, what I call them. And people actually believe some of that stuff is real. They're watching the movies. Like, they see Tom Cruise hanging from a building in Dubai, and people think he actually did that. I mean, really? The guy hung from a rope. He hung from a rope from a blue screen. That's Tom Cruise's idea to do the stunt, okay? Don't believe anything comes in that guy's mouth. During the Days of Thunder movie, honestly, during the Days of Thunder movie, they started a rumor he was 0.2 of a second off the track record in Charlotte. That is a lie perpetrated by Robert Duvall, the actor, and Rick Hendricks, the car owner. Bottom line. because he's not a
Wow.
race car driver.
Kind of bring us back a little regarding the your book that you have, The World Makes What Makes the Limo Driver, what the limo driver knows about NASCAR. Tell us about that particular book itself.
Well, basically, I wanted to set the everything straight on the sport of NASCAR, and everything from Dale Earnhardt, the Days of Thunder movie, to how to fix the sport. I tell people in this book how to fix the sport of NASCAR, how to make the cars more even, how to make them aerodynamically the same, and bring the racing back to the driver, instead of tire technology, whatever. I mean, these regular tires basically help ruin the sport also. They really do. They're like twice the extent, and you can affect the spring rate of the car just by adjusting the air pressure in these regular tires. And I don't know. They have just not went in the right direction at all. And plus, I have no faith in Bill and Brian France guy that's now running NASCAR for the last several. I think he don't have a clue. I don't think he's ever turned a wrench on a car in my life. So yeah, and plus, basically, here's what I did to the sport. I'm the first guy that vinyl wrapped a NASCAR star car. Okay, it revolutionized the sport. It revolutionized the sport. I've not made one nickel from that. Not one nickel. I'm the first guy that mounted the engine and transmission like a sprint car, like they have aluminum plates that make them more sturdy in the car, more rigid. I'm the first guy that did that. I'm the first guy that built the carbon fiber airbox in 1992 that they all use. I've not made a dime from none of this stuff. And I just got tired of it, and I want to tell the truth about the Robin Rose's drunk driving death in 1990. He was a dear friend of mine, and he won the Busch title 1 or 2 years. His first year of Winston Cup racing, he had a $2 million sponsor. He had a new house paid for. Every girl in Charlotte wanted to date him. And he gets killed drunk driving. And I kind of tell the story, what led up to that, and how it affected my life and a lot of other people's lives. I've really not been the same. I mean, it cast a big shadow over that. And I wanted to tell the truth about Dale Earnhardt. I mean, the guy was really an a-hole, and try to make a hero out of the guy. He was just a race car driver. That's all he was. Wasn't too much more than that. But and I want to talk about what actually killed Earnhardt at Daytona. And a lot of people get offended by this. Here's what killed Dale Earnhardt at Daytona. He overcorrected the race car. That's what killed Dale. Because when the car finally caught traction with 2 front tires, he was heading towards the wall. He hit the wall about 150 miles an hour. That's it. The seatbelts didn't shear. That's just driving there. And of course, Sterling Marlin tapped him on the, the left rear quarter panel, and he overcorrected the car. Bottom line.
Wow. And the overcorrection, of course, it caused his death.
Yes, in my opinion, yes, because if he had spun the car into the infield, he'd still be alive today. So he tried to correct the car, which he overcorrected the car, and once it caught traction, it was straight up and hit the wall. That's it, And I remember watching that race in a motel room outside of San Francisco. I'm by myself just watching the race. As soon as he hit the wall, I told myself, this guy's dead. As soon as he hit the wall, he's done. And I don't know what told me that, what made me feel that way. And then once the car rolled back across the track, and once I saw Ken Schrader's reaction. Ken Schrader's a nice man. I've met him. I drank beer with him, and I could see how he reacted when he walked up to the race car. That was it. It was over with. But you know what, guy? It's just kind of like everything else in life right now. People are just tied up in interested things that just don't mean. I mean, you got 50-something million people voting on American Idol. Really? You know what I mean? You got Swamp People on TV again for the second season. Do you really want to watch Swamp People second season, or Pawn Stars, or Dancing with the Stars? I mean, really? It's just junk. It's all it is. It's all it is. It's getting worse. I mean, The Simpsons have been on air for 20 years now. Anybody who's been watching The Simpsons for 20 years, I hope they're not reproducing. Okay? So that's just my feelings about things. And then what brings us up to originally why I was supposed to do this program today is I'm a strong advocate for the SB 1070, which is that law that they passed in Arizona about legal immigrants. I absolutely want to start shooting people. Okay? It's ruining this country. And then you get people like George Lopez asking people to boycott Arizona. Okay? Now, among the idiots that done that, it's Hall & Oates, Shakira, Cypress Hill, Pitbull, the LA City Council. It goes on and on and on. But what has pissed me off is George Lopez is coming back to Arizona now and doing concerts. That's what he told people 2 years ago to boycott the state. So what's up with that? Why isn't anybody talking about this? Well, I am. I'm tired of these people like that. I'm tired of George Clooney's opinions on anything. I don't want to hear Matt Damon's opinion. I don't want to hear Elton John's opinions on anything. Okay?
Well, okay.
especially
Well,
George
talk about
Lopez.
yeah. And so tell us, for some listeners who don't know about that law in Arizona, tell us about that Senate Bill 7020.
Yeah, 1070 is what it was, and basically that was signed into law by the governor. I guess their last name is Brewer, and
Hmm?
they were just tired of the government not doing anything, so they wanted to take it upon themselves to help protect themselves and the economy. I mean, if you do the research alone on the amount of births that are at the hospital in Arizona, and actually LA, at one time LA, I think 30% of the births in that hospitals were illegal immigrants. People not here legally giving birth, and we're paying the bill about $2,200 per birth. So it's just one thing to another. I think the population in prison in Arizona is 14% illegal immigrants. It just goes on and on and on. And this is what's bankrupting most of this country, because you just can't give as much free stuff out. You just can't do it, because where's the money at? So they wanted to stand up for themselves and make something happen and help protect their borders and their state. And then you got these people from other parts of the country just, meddling in their Arizona's business. And then you have these celebrities start talking about it, and they want people not to go there. In fact, let me tell you a story. And this never made the news. McDonald's canceled a week-long convention in Phoenix due to SB 1070 about 2 years ago. They canceled it. They never made the news. How I know about it is they moved it to La Quinta, California. Of course, I'm a limo driver. I drove some of the McDonald's executives that week outside of Palm Springs. And one of them says, why we're here, don't you? I said, well, I guess the weather and the room rate. I said, no, SB 1070. Yeah. And the guy kind of laughed, you know what I mean? But I said, no, we was afraid of the SB 1070, and that's the reason we're here. So there's no telling how much money it actually costed Phoenix, Tucson, and the state of Arizona, people that just canceling conventions or whatever. So
And I'm sure it is, and it kind of what the economy mean for Arizona. I mean, it's just kind of a double whammy. So I guess for the residents of Arizona and with the legislator, there when they made that decision, they didn't realize, okay, there'd be a backlash on this. Maybe not a backlash that, hey, I know that some businesses are going to be sympathetic with the Hispanic community, and they're going to temporarily move their business to get out of the heat of this for a couple of years, and eventually they're going to come back. It always worked that way economically. You take a short-term hit, but over time people forget.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, people do forget. And this is why George Lopez probably thinks. Now I want to make a comment, and I want everyone to listen to this, because this is what's happening to America. Political correctness has turned this country into a bunch of weenies. Okay, that's the gist of everything right now in America. Political correctness has turned this country into a bunch of weenies. And that's the bottom line right there. Everybody wants to be politically correct. I don't care if it's TV. I don't care if it's some NASCAR driver talking after a race about things. And I'm just sick of it. It's ruining this country. There's got to be
I think
someone.
it's because
They're just afraid of the backlash.
Really driving. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just sad what's happening. And once people try to stand up for themselves, then they're ridiculed. And then you got people from other parts of the country, like the LA City Council voted to ban doing business with Arizona. Well, nothing changed. They're still doing business with them. They didn't change since day one. It took a political stance and what I call posturing. They just want to get in front of the media and make this big splash. They're still doing business with Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, because people will forget and things will go on. So I guess we're just waiting to see how this turns out politically or through the justice system with the courts, how it would play out. That'd be the deciding
Well,
factor.
there's one other thing here that's really upsetting about this whole thing is Obama, which I still can't believe this guy got voted in. I'm still amazed at that. But Obama turned in the state of Arizona to the United Nations. You know that, don't you? He turned them into the United Nations. And the United Nations don't even need to be in America. They need to be taken off in some foreign country somewhere, or the island is dumped off. That's my feeling of the United Nations. And so last February of this, well, actually February this year, Obama even flies back to Arizona and makes an appearance. I'm thinking, why would you even let his plane land? Why would you even let him come back to Arizona? I wouldn't.
Well, it's still, yeah. I mean, you got to take the good and bad either way. I mean, it's still the government is still, if you look at whatever the system how it works, it's still a big supporter of Arizona. It's still part of the union. So out of respect for that particular government, and you're paying money to Washington, so you got to have some type of representation. I mean, and terms only for 4 years. I mean, it will go on and on and on. Whoever is in the White House, the residents of Arizona actually is paying their taxes to the federal government, so there should be some type of representation, and also some input that they can have on one-on-one with each branch of office. So it's just going to have. It is one of the natures of the beast. We just can't be separate, a separate entity on our own. But in taking that, kind of, I guess the courts will decide what's going to happen with that. Then we just pretty much go from there. In your course of in writing a book, in the course of being a limo driver, have you run across any funny stories or any unusual type of incidents as being a limo driver?
Well, actually, I was a limo driver. I've lived in Las Vegas twice. When I tell people I have seen it all, I have seen it all. Okay, and I videotaped half of it. Basically, the worst people that would come to Las Vegas, in my opinion, was the NBA players. The very worst. In fact, now Las Vegas won't talk about this, but anytime the NBA players are in town, crime goes up in high-end strip malls, like Caesars, Forum shops and whatever, because of theft. They don't even talk about stuff like that. But I actually refused to drive with Dennis Rodman one night. I mean, I didn't want the guy in my car, and I had him call another limo driver. I'm not going to drive this idiot around all night. So, I drove George Clooney one night, picked him up at Caesars, dropped him to his hotel. He got something, came back down, I took him to a strip club. In 2 hours, he was so drunk, he didn't know who I was, and he had some stripper in his lap. And then I said, well, just call me when you're ready. Never heard back from him. There might be another story. Oh, this is something that never made the news. This is pretty serious. That night that Mike Tyson, his last fight there, that's something else. When I tell you that when Tyson fought in Las Vegas, the money was incredible. I'm telling you, you couldn't take the money out of people's hands fast enough. They're just throwing it at you. And it's sad the guy still don't fight there. But the last night that he fought there, and remember when he bit Holyfield deer that night? That was the last time I think he fought there. Okay, I'm the first limo in line at the MGM. I have already got my people in the car. I hear 3 gunshots. People are running out of the MGM like a herd of giraffes. It is scary. I heard a bullet bounce off the right front fender of my limo. I see 2 people on the ground bleeding about 20 and 40 foot from me because I'm already laying on the concrete. After it's all settled down, the police wind up wrap my limo I'm in and kind of a police caution area and wouldn't let me take the car for a while. So I walked my people across the street to get in another limousine. I saw a person shot on the escalator. The Tropicana falls down the concrete. So I'm ducking bullets again. And after it's all said and done, the police said someone dropped a champagne bottle inside the MGM.
Yeah, they don't want that stuff to get out because people are very
afraid. Oh, no.
Or start checking out.
Now, the only thing that ever came up camera-wise in this, they showed where a table had got knocked over in the MGM with like $25,000 chips on it, and they caught an NBA player grabbing a couple of them off the ground and put them in his pocket. That's the only thing that ever made the news. I don't know what NBA player was. There's just that place. There's a lot of things I miss about Las Vegas. I had so much fun there, but it's just all the other crap. The court system is corrupt, and I really didn't care for the mayor for a long time, Oscar Goodman. And the year 2000 what really turned me off on Las Vegas. And here's what happened. That was Y2K. People had reserved rooms to be in Las Vegas for 3 or 4 years. And imagine you're New Year's Eve in Las Vegas the year 2000, okay? But Las Vegas was getting so greedy. They were returning people's reservations, deposits, and wanting like 3 times the money. They were expecting 1 million people there that night. 1 million. I drove that night, New Year's Eve. And people got so turned off, they went up, just had the regular crowd of like a quarter million there for New Year's Eve. And it just screwed a lot of people out a lot of money. It really did. Just from the greed of casinos and the buffets and everything else that went up like double the price. But, that's not my Las Vegas. But, and in the heyday, when people had corporate credit cards and everything else, and money was going, and it was wide open in the late 90s. It really was.
Well,
but
anything,
go ahead. Like everything else, man, it takes it's a big cycle. So,
well, let's recap real quick. Where can we find your book? It looks like it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it's what's on my website, madmyqs.com. You'll see the address to send the money to. Someone like $4 like that. And I'm actually rewriting the book right now. I'm updating it, and actually, there's a section in the book I talk about the movie that Britney Spears is going to do. she was going to do a NASCAR movie, and it never got done just because the rumor was she got caught with Jeff Gordon, which never made the news either. But they kind of, and I just didn't want Britney Spears involved in NASCAR. I mean, I just, that was too much for me. And I started a website, Racers Against Britney and whatever, and NASCAR. Yeah, I mean, there's just no need for that stuff. So anyway, that's where you find it on my website. It's, hopefully the jump's going to happen in about 4 months, and we got something really big for October 6th. We got really such a big plan.
Well, I really appreciate, man, Max, you coming on the show, Mike. And again, you'll give us your website address again?
Yeah, it's madmikehughes.com. And actually, I have another website. It's called reformcaldcss.com. And that is my fight against the California child support system, which is another scam in this country. Every 22 minutes in America, a man commits suicide over the pressure and financial burden of child support. Think about that one. So now there's been more men killed over child support than was ever killed in World War II. Think about that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. And no one wants to do anything. These politicians, all they want to do is they want to vote in new laws and take lobbyists' money, but they don't want to fix the things they're going to fix. It's really sad. There should be no reason a person in this country is homeless or is going to bed without any food at night. Think about it. But there is.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, we're going to leave it at that again, and your website address is madmikehughes.com is one of them, and of course you mentioned the other two as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. And
thank you.
Anything we do for you, sir.
Great. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. This has been another production of The Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host, and you can download this episode on iTunes on Blog Talk Radio. Thank you for listening, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you for listening to The Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For more information about equipment financing and asset-based loans, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. Or call us at 866-611-7457. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And thanks again for listening to The Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.